My name is Cassie Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Welcome everyone to the Curious Universe podcast. I have a very special guest today. My new friend G is here to share his brilliance and magic with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Cassy, for inviting me. It's awesome to be here today.
So I would love to start. We talked a little bit kind of about your journey. You had a big transformation.
Yeah.
You're at this place in your life where said rock bottom, like heartbreak,
hmm
ill health, like all this stuff going on. I would love for you to just take us a bit on that journey as we kind of get to know you a little.
Sure. Thank you very much for asking that. It was like almost 3 years ago when I was really in the downhill,
Mm,
and there are two options that I saw as, outcomes of my life at that time. One is um, live, and the other one is leave. And it was so interesting because, you know, it was a situation when I had a cancer in my mouth, debt, love crisis, or relationship wise, it was super like challenging, sophistically said. And the fourth one was, what was that? Oh yeah, I didn't know what to do with my life.
mm,
Like 2 days after Christmas, 2022, I think it was that. Yeah, or 23. And it was something I didn't expect. Like, at the age of 28, I was not thinking about, facing with death, paying debts. I had a totally different picture in my mind about where I should be at this age. And this was the time when I got to know access consciousness a little bit closer. I met with Nicolette and I went to her class, Access Bars class first, and I got to know these tools. Like what else? Like questions mainly, right? And this is where I got kind of a mindset shift. And I realized that everything I experienced at that time, like 3 years ago from now, uh, I created that. So if I created that, I am the one who can change it. And step by step, like I would rather like to say it as choice by choice.
mm.
Um, what I realized that I was able to, like 3 months passed. Oh yeah, and one more interesting thing, I went to a hospital because of this cancer thing in my mouth, which I didn't call as illness because I didn't wanna, put something on this, so I just called it as something. And I went to the hospital, and after the fourth visit, doctors couldn't say what it was. So I went back home and I started to, communicate with my body. Okay, what this is and how can I change it? And this is a tool that I learned, at my first class, Access Bars class. And the interesting thing was that as I started communicating with my body, I instantly got the information what to do, which was to end the toxic relationship
Oh,
of that time. And it's so funny because that was really like frightening. I was really afraid of what is going to be if I end this relationship uh, on that I put my life on. So it was, you know what I mean? It was
yeah.
truly like in and the interesting thing was that all of these things happened like unexpectedly. Now I know it was not unexpected. Um, and the interesting thing is that, after ending the relationship and getting into the downhill, like to the bottom and beyond and beyond and beyond, I realized that mm, hmm. So the medicine, so like kind of the solution um to the cancer, so this thing in my mouth was ending the relationship because as I, ended it, the size of this thing in my mouth, in my bone, started to reduce. So it's funny how things are correlated, but not always in a logical way. And this was certainly the first, deeper experience, me experiencing the true power laying in access consciousness.
Mm. So how
So,
did,
and now,
go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. And since then, it's so interesting because, in half in a year, I was able to pay out all the debts. My face and my voice and my look started to change like totally. I remember a few days ago, I sent you just, a slider.
Yeah.
It's like a 4 second long video, like a screen record, right? And one picture is 2023, yeah, and the other one is nowadays. And the difference is like huge, right?
I didn't even know
So,
it was you at first.
right?
I was like, what? I'm like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm grateful because you know if I hadn't recorded, the process, which is by the way, the name of the brand that I do here
Yeah.
in Hungary. People wouldn't have seen, the difference and the potential of 2 years using the tools. And so, yeah, my mission is really just to, share this experience and kind of what really is possible if we starting to be ourselves more and more and more and more.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay, you have this, you start communicating with your body. Body says
Mhm.
leave, you do. And then and the other thing, you were looking at what I want to do with my life. So you chose to like, what if you started teaching the bars? And that is that kind of where that evolved?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And then you've had quite a lot of success in a very short time with that.
Mm-hmm.
Being honest, he's not saying it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I admit it. Yes,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely, you're right.
So, but going from
Yeah.
someone like, what do I want to do with my life to having like a 40-person bars class and then a 100-person bars class, like that's an extraordinary leap. It's like really you jump tracks into another reality for yourself.
Absolutely, yes. It has been really a leap. Yeah, absolutely. I love the way you said it. And with all of that, because I just realized, like a few weeks ago, that in the last 2.5 years, our reach, like number wise, was 9 million.
Mm,
But take into consideration that, Hungary is a 10 million inhabitants country. So, so 90, so we like mathematically reached 90% of the country in 2.5 years.
wow.
And 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 yeah, my goal really is, so at that point when I was facing with death, really the only desire I had left was to be myself and um never dilute myself because of anything, you know. And that this desire has become the North Star, so to say, in my life. And I'm just, it's just so surprisingly amazing how potential it can be when we be us or when you do you. I hope I can describe it um, in English well.
You're doing great. And would you say that being you, like showing up as you, kind of connects to the success that you've been having with this business?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Um, so what I did, because we both have a beautiful podcast channel,
Mhm.
and which I just checked yours, and I
Oh,
really like it. I love it. I became your fan, the new fan. Um,
you're fan.
so yeah, what I did, there were a time when I published 2 episodes weekly, and what I did is that because um, I edited all the videos and I watched them again, every video, like I mean episodes that I posted on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And what I did was I was watching how I was talking. I was watching how I communicate to the camera, mimics, so everything. I was kind of monitoring myself. How can I become more of me,
Mhm.
which equals to how to become better. So, it's so interesting because last week and like 2 days ago on Sunday, we had a body process class.
Hmm.
And this was one of the main topics that I was talking about, that because it can be kind of palpable what it means to be you or to be better, right? And I just realized that for me at this moment, to be better means to be more of me. And it's so interesting because the way how I experience this, like 90% is not, you cannot see it with your eyes. You can only be aware of it because it's energy. And the last 10%, it occurs in the 3D, in this kind of reality, if it makes sense, what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay, I would love to go a little into trust. So we were talking about like how deep is your trust, and
Mm-hmm.
even back to when you were talking about your body, say you're like, what is this body? And it's like you need to leave this relationship. I know a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people that have body stuff going on, and when they think it's all physical, they wouldn't look to go, what is it beyond I'm eating the wrong thing or I'm not exercising enough or whatever. So you get this awareness and it's like, whoa, I put so much into this relationship, but you trusted your body. That's really rare. Like what
Mm-hmm.
can you speak more to that? What have you always kind of let that way, or was it this moment of like it's do or die? Like how is that
Mm.
showing up?
Oh, thank you. Great question. Thank you very much for asking. So, it's so funny because I didn't really know it's an option I can choose to, communicate with my body as I can communicate with everything else, like with nature, with you, with so it took me 27 years to realize that we humanoids can communicate with everything. Because everything is kind of interconnected. But as Nikola Tesla said, if you want to kind of get or understand the secrets of the universe, you gotta think in frequencies and in energy, right? And this was the point, like at the age of 27, kind of, when I realized, when I first heard of these tools, that I can ask my body if there's anything kind of wrong, which I don't call as wrongness. I much rather see it as a potential. Um, And I started asking questions because I was um I was not the smartest guy in the room, because, so to say. Because, yeah, because I had to create um, a cancer in my body to realize that I am much, I have way more skills than I believed I had. Um, and I was like, at that point when I nearly died, I realized that, okay, what could go wrong if I just start using these questions? Okay, like there's this thing. Um, what can I do with it? How can I change it? And um, it's so interesting because as we start using questions instead of answers, what changes uh, is kind of the source of the information. Because, nowadays world, there's a lot of information around us. We're just driving the car and there's one and another one and another one, a huge amount of information. And the reason why I like access consciousness is the question, because you will get um, information that works for you if you implement the information in your life. And this is why I think is, like access consciousness is great because it will work for you. So it's like 100% personalized um, thing. And
You say that, yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to say how sexy this title is. How deep is your trust?
That was your title. It's a very sexy title. Yeah.
It really is. It's a co-creation. It's a
Oh,
result of our co-creation. And yeah, because a trust is fundamental, the way how I see it, because um, all of us has a mission. And what I see in the world is that a lot of people do not trust in that there is a reason why they are here right now. And this is what I kind of work on right now um, to give a reminder to the people through the videos, through the social contents, through the emails that we send out to them, that all of us have choice and we can choose to trust. And this can on long term in the process, it can lead us to a totally different outcome. And that's magical because all of a sudden we can realize that, oh my gosh, there can be a lot more magic in our lives. For example, there can be a lot more potential space and joy, and a lot of things that we didn't even know exist.
mm.
And this is the reason why I really like all this what we are talking about, because I really had a picture in my mind like 10 years ago how my life would be from that point on. Like 10 years from that point at the age of 18, 20 years from that point, 30 years. And now looking back after 13, not 30, 11 years, I gotta say that like there's not even 1% that matches that picture that I imagined like 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's so like it's way much better than what I could imagine 11 years ago. And all of that is because there was something inside of me, like there was something I trusted in. And we can call it awareness, we can call it consciousness. Um, hmm. How would you call it? I'm really curious.
Yeah, for me, the trust piece, it's like trusting in myself is trusting in the
Hmm.
universe. and is
Hmm.
trusting in consciousness because I am that. So
Wow.
I used to function from trust as in like trusting I made the right choice or
Okay.
trusting that everything's going to be okay, but those were all judgments. And then so if it didn't match, if my judgment didn't match what showed up or my expectation, then I'm like, oh, I guess I can't trust myself.
Hmm.
But kind of what you're talking about is when I stepped into like trusting that I know, trusting
Mm-hmm.
that I have my own back, it
Hmm.
showed up so completely different. Because then I was able, and then this is like, how deep does your trust go? Then I was able to like deepen that trust as I went on in my journey.
Hmm. It's so beautiful. Um, I got even more curious. Can I have another question on top of because it's what I experience is that as we, move on or like move forward, there are situations that are like 100% unknown, totally new.
Hmm.
How originally I wanted to ask, how do you handle these situations? But it's not really handling, right? It's so how do you trust in a situation that you don't know at all? There are no like reference points in that situation.
Yeah, those are the best because they're the most like undefined and kind of scary. Like you're
Hmm.
terrified, or I am. I get
Okay.
like really excited and I'm like, oh.
Hmm.
For me, it was like I guess you could say the process of doing it so many times. You know, you take that leap off the cliff and you're like, I might splat, and you don't. And you're like, oh.
Hmm.
Or if you do splat, when you pick yourself up, you have so much more of you. You're like, whoa, that's incredible. So for me, when those situations arrive, the more I just like ask to be so much more present, just more present. Like you were saying, more of me, like just be more here and more present and allow and don't try and control. And then it's just, it always shows up greater than I imagine possible.
Hmm.
And that is where my trust again, like just deepened. It just grew every time that showed up and I didn't die.
Wow. Cool. Thank you for saying that right now. My body is changing.
Cool.
Wow. Hmm.
How does it look for you? So you trusted your body, you left the relationship, you've been trusting your business like to have so much success and you were just telling me you were living in Egypt and now you're like so you're moving like you're on your own kind of journey with trust. How's that showing up for you when you make
Hmm.
those choices?
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, thank you for asking. Um, like in this season of my life, I'm on the move. Like I move on a constant level, sometimes to a different country. I'm also really curious about, I've never been in I was in, South America many times, but never been in Canada and in the US. And I'm just really curious about what else is possible. And I also I'm aware of, you know, um, how new it can be because the more we choose, the bigger the tendency can be that, oh, this is something I know, this is something I know, I've been there, all these thoughts. But when we are present, in my case, what I see and what I experience is that when I'm present, in this presence, there is no like thoughts of the past. And it really helps me not to get drawn, or get lost in the moment or in the situation of something completely new.
Mm.
Because, we and if I can bring in, the target, like all of us have a target of our lives or in our lives. And when everything is kind of fucked up, or, because there are situations when
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? But beyond. this thing, what is there all the time, like 21/7, is the target.
Mm.
So even when I wake up in the morning with, yuck stuck, what the fuck, with this feeling, I never lose the target. And I'm 100% sure that this is the result of or the outcome of trusting. And if we do not lose trust, or if we remember how to trust again in us, as you said, it was said beautifully.
Mhm.
If we learn and deepen this trust with ourselves, which is a choice actually, then we can experience in this journey that our life can be much greater than we had ever thought it could be, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and what I'm experiencing, that we this is just the warm up.
Yeah.
This is just the one. There's so much more.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
it's so much.
Yeah.
And can I mention one more thing regarding this?
Please.
It's not logically related, but it somehow it will be.
Yeah.
Like last week, because now we are making a series about access bars. How does access bars make you better? This is actually the name of the series. We are doing the fourth episode, or the fourth part this week. And the last week, on the third part, we had such a beautiful conversation, and I got a sentence that I took with myself, which is, if it's about when something is too much for us.
Mhm.
Like there's so many projects going on, so many opportunities, so many things. And usually it is because we don't choose big enough. And as one of the takeaways that I kind of intended to share in this conversation is this: that whenever you feel, or like whenever we feel that something is just too much or too big or too, yeah, like too much, it's not because it is, but it's because we haven't chosen, or we do not choose big enough. And the way how I experience this, the universe or our future selves, interesting question, which one is? Maybe both, maybe the same. But so this thing always want us to choose something bigger, because either our lives expands, or what is the opposite? I can't recall it in
Contract.
English.
Like contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think we are on the same boat. We both want our lives to, expand on a constant level, because my observation is that nature is expanding, right? It's not contracting, but it's expanding, it's growing all the time.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the energy that I want to share with the people. So we have a lot of content available on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Like 95% of them are free. So even, you know, for people who are just, driving the car and want to listen something, they have the option. And we also organize classes currently in Hungary. Later, who knows?
Yeah. Taking on the world. Yeah, and we'll put links to that, guys, in the description. All sorts of stuff in there so they can explore your podcast and your channel and all your beautiful content. I love what you were just saying though about where something seems too much and then it's because we're asking too small. This also feels like it plays in with the trust thing because I think a lot of people ask for what they already think that they trust they can choose.
Hmm.
And and even you talking about that, 18-year-old who had, I know the next 10 years of my life, and that was from that place of like, this is as big as you could choose, and now
Mm,
you're looking at a completely different life and choosing something so different. Um, what if like trust evolves as well? And what if there's so okay, so can you talk about this a little bit? And we're wrapping up here, I know, but I need you to talk about this. Is so here you are looking at like choosing bigger, like these big classes, like for some people they would be terrified to facilitate more than four people. And so
mhm,
you were able to step into being something and choosing something and asking something greater at such a short amount of time as your
mhm,
access journey started. What what was behind that? Was that your target? Was that just something you trusted in yourself? Like what was the energies behind that for you?
mm, I try not to cry now because I can recall this season of my life right after, almost dying or going to death. And actually what brought me out, or how I took myself out of this situation, out of the downhill, was literally to share myself to the world as I was. And it's so interesting because most of the people I talk to never start, never ever start sharing content, sharing themselves in the age of where it was never easier to, get to the people through social media, through email. There's so many options. And I can recall that, it's so funny because a few days ago, there was a notification popped up in my Facebook page. And it showed me that nearly 2.5 years ago was the time when I shared my first Facebook Live.
Okay.
And at that point, the name was not even invented. So that brand called Process now was not even a thing at that time. And I can recall that the first 10 Facebook Lives, all of them were more than an hour long in duration. Maximum two people watched for a minute.
Mm, yeah.
I was sitting there, I saw the number, in the corner, like zero people, zero person is watching. And I was like, I didn't give a shit about that. I was like, I'm doing this for the future.
Mm,
I'm doing this for the future. And early on, my philosophy was that, and I think it remained the same, is that give such an amount of value to the people that they feel. Um, I think you know what I want to say. This is a sign that I have to speak English more, often. But to give and give and give and give and give and give, and by giving so much, but like valuable things, the awareness will come to you what to choose, what to do. So what I did, that is like what I did, it was turning up the volume. And since then, I've been doing this, even, putting the, how do we say it in English? Like putting that thing, you know, higher and higher and higher and higher.
raising the bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Raising the bar.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so sexy. I mean, this is kind of the secret. My secret is, um, the reason why our first, really, the very first Access Bars class, how it went to, full house, 40 people. Uh, I did such an amount of content beforehand, or like before that, that I got to known by enough people who could choose this option at that time.
Mm.
And yeah, um, mainly this is what I've been doing since then too. Uh, I'm not really pinching the pennies. Yeah, I think you know what I mean. Or like numbers are good to see, but they are not, the most important thing to me because profit for me is impact.
Mm.
And I know if I focus on that, all the other things will be taken care of. And it's so funny. Can I just share one more thing
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
It's interesting because many people think that the secret of my kind of success is that I have a pretty face, or like this is what sometimes I read the comments and there are all kinds of people commenting, you know from the sofa, from the chair, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and some of them um wrote that, oh, all of this is because you have beautiful blue eyes and you have a pretty face, and I'm like, dude, 95% of what I'm doing, nobody sees. Nobody. And like all of what we do, I know because you also have a lot of, sophistically said, a lot of podcast episodes. You know how much kind of energy, or in a good sense, effort it is to share a podcast episode, right?
Yeah.
To create a thumbnail, to make a description, and all these, tiny little things nobody sees. I can recall that, early on, back in the beginning, every podcast episode from start to finish took me 4 hours.
Wow.
So if we add them all together, now we are having around 110 podcast episodes. That makes at least 440 hours. And this is just the podcast episodes. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I, after choosing to stay here now and live as myself and expanding that, I was like, okay, now I'm all in. And this is my North Star. Everything else is kind of secondary. And this mission is prior to, um, it's on the top of my priority. And it works. It's really, it really works. And really one more point to that. Can I add one more thing to that? Sorry, I can't stop. Please stop me, okay?
Yeah. Good. It's good. We love it. Go.
Is that it's never it's never a matter of outlook. Of course, um, if you, I mean, it's not the most important thing. I mean, of course, I also have nice shirts, and I take care that I look like. There's this baseline that I think it's kind of important to have. But then um, I really experienced the power of this, what Gary Douglas, the founder or the co-founder of Access Consciousness, once said: two words, choice creates. And me choosing doing and being a contribution to consciousness every day on a constant level, maybe this is one of the reasons why the brand of mine is called Process, because it is. There's you cannot really see the finish line. And for some people it's really driving them crazy because until a point, especially for two control freaks, they always want to see a finish line. They always want to know what the outcome is. But basically what I see, there is much more, not just important but impactful and joyful enriching our lives is the process, is the journey, not the outcome. What 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 do you think about that? Or what is your awareness point of view about that? I'm curious too, if you
Yeah.
don't mind asking back.
No, I don't mind at all. And I love that. It's funny because my favorite quote used to be, in high school you have to sign your yearbook and you used to put your favorite quote and it was in the end the end doesn't matter. It's like the journey that counts was always my
Hmm.
favorite because it's like that that journey is where you find you. It's like where you become more of you and that there is no end. So I think you nailed it. I think you dropped a
Hmm.
bomb and it was beautifully said. Yeah,
Hmm.
incredible. I'm
Wow.
so grateful for you. We're gonna wrap it up, but maybe you could come back on the show or we'll cook up something different because I'm just so inspired by you and grateful
Hmm.
to be getting to know you. And I want the whole world to know who you are. So
Hmm.
thank you so much for being here.
It would be a pleasure, and thank you for being space for that. Like, really, I haven't said a word in English in the last 3 months, and now I'm just, I got surprised how easy it was talking with you, or like talking to you, having this conversation with you. Thank you very much. I'm
Thank
truly grateful for that.
thank you. And everyone, if you want more, please check him out. We're gonna have all kinds of links for you to discover more. Thank you. We'll see you in the
And
next
hit
episode. Oh.
absolutely. And if I'm saying this to the visitors watching this episode now, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it now.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?